Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, let's talk about survival shelters. This is a survival shelter that I built over a year ago, and I just built it to see how well it would last, and it's doing pretty well. This is of course where I have done some of my videos. There's the backside of my area where I do my fire videos and my fire pit. I have some huge slabs of rock here in the area, and so many of you have seen this. And this is the inside of the shelter, and as you can see, I've got some holes to the outside and just need to do some patching and repairs to it. One note about survival shelters is that because they're made out of found materials, things you can scrounge out in the woods and places where you happen to be surviving, debris, parts of a plane, a boat, a car, whatever it is that you have to hand that caused you to be in a survival situation, you will probably have to continue to work on and improve your shelter on a regular basis. And that's especially true if you're building it out of forest debris. So sticks, leaves, and things like that. And so one of the things that I want to do today is I want to build my shelter up with a better roof system using slabs of bark. And I've been collecting bark for some time, specifically for this project. So let's get to work. So what we're looking for in bark is we're looking for a dead tree, very much like this one here. And what you'll find oftentimes are large slabs of bark, and this is just laying here. This is also another reason to always carry a garbage bag. I can put this in here and then I don't have to carry it against me, get my clothes wet, and get the dirt and the bark all over me. So we're going to collect some of this and take it back to our shelter. And of course we're going to try to keep these from breaking as much as possible, because we want the largest slabs that we can get, and some of them are quite long. So about this size is ideal. Even about half that long would be fine. And there's a lot of it laying right here at the base of this tree, so very easy to harvest, and bark makes one of the best roofs there is for a portable shelter, for a temporary shelter. So always keep your eye out for this kind of stuff. This is a great resource in survival. So we've got some bark. Let's take it back to camp and work on our shelter. You know, having a garbage bag is one of those survival items that you just can't have enough of. I would highly recommend having a minimum of one, even in a small kit. But ideally, I'd like to have 3 in every kit that I put together in my backpack. They're just so useful. There's so many things that you can use a garbage bag for. And of course, I like the 3 mil thick heavy-duty contractor bags. Now, most of them that we find in our stores around here are the 42-gallon, but you can buy them occasionally, and you can find them definitely online, the 55-gallon type. And I'm not sure how many liters that is, but definitely well worth investing in a box of those just to keep in your kit. Carrying this stuff is a lot of work. Definitely a calorie burner. Alright, so we're back here at our shelter, and let's just dump this out right here next to our other piles we've gathered. And then let's get ready to re-roof our shelter. You know, I could have used a garbage bag or a tarp or something like that for my shelter, but I really wanted to build it out of forest debris and litter, because that's the true test of a survival shelter, is can you make it waterproof without using plastic or a tarp? Well, it has now started to snow, and so again, this is one of those things where it's imperative to have some gloves, and we're going to begin to clear off the sticks that are the uprights on a shelter holding the debris down, and then we're going to start putting some shingles on. And we want to get this done because it's snowing, and it's going to definitely impact our shelter, and we want to make sure that we keep it as weatherproof as possible. So let's get to it. All right, so we've got that done, and now we're going to go ahead and start putting our shingles on, and we're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to layer them on up. So obviously as the water runs down, we're going to end up with a watershed. If we put them the other way, then water will run underneath the shingles. First thing we do is we're just going to lay them side by side and get as much of it covered as we can all the way across. I'm going to work on this and I'll get back with you. So one thing that I'm doing on my shelter here is I'm saving the largest pieces for up near the top, where I want the largest amount of the rainfall, snowfall, ice, whatever it is, to be shed off, especially where I'm sleeping, and right under this longer area here of our shelter. So I've saved the largest pieces for last. Pieces like this big, great big chunks of bark. And you want to try not to break them if you can help it. And overlapping not only on the top, but also on the sides. Making sure you're spanning as much space as possible. And covering all the gaps and the cracks and the holes as adequately as you can. Because again, we're looking for maximum coverage. And this is our roof, so it has to function and it has to work. Some of these pieces are really large, and that's a good thing. And of course, after we get all this together, then we'll lay our sticks back down, and we can always throw more debris on top to help hold things in place. If I can, I want to make sure and overlap the top of my shelter roof a little bit as possible to provide a little bit more of an overhang for my shelter. And that's where these bigger pieces really come in handy as well. And we got one more big slab we're going to put over here on the roof on the other side. And here is our shingled shelter. And we're getting ready to put the sticks back on to hold all of our shingles down. And then when the weather gets a little bit better where we can get up some more leaf litter and debris, we'll put that on top, and it will add to the effectiveness of our shelter's roof. Now we have to put all the sticks back on to hold our wood down. All right, looking good. Should hold things down if the weather gets worse and it's continuing to snow. It's turned my survival shelter video into a winter wonderland. So we're in the shelter, and I'll give you a little bit of a look around here. You can see what we've got. It's enough room to sleep in. I've got my plastic garbage bag here with my fire stuff laid down in it, my gloves. I've got a little bit of wood processed down here. Some fat wood, just a little bit of cotton ball petroleum jelly on it. In this kind of weather, you need all the help you can get to get your fire started. So let's go ahead, and of course here's our big fire pit, and let's see if we can't get some kind of a fire going here. So whenever, of course, you start a fire in an environment like this, we've got all of this very soggy, damp stuff going on. But I've got a little corner back here that's sheltered by these rocks, and so I'm going to put my fire lay right here so I can get it started. Anytime you can shelter your fire and try to keep it dry, obviously, till you get it growing in strength, you're going to be better off. So I'm going to grab this over here very carefully, put it here in this spot. Then I have just a very few small pieces of fat wood that I have processed, and we'll put those in the fire as soon as it gets hot enough. There we go. Get our fat wood going. And we're going to add some sticks from our little bundle that I always keep in my fire kit. So that's why you should always have a Ziploc bag with a few small twigs in it. This way I can always get my fire going no matter the weather. These are totally bone dry and they'll burn really well. Alright, we got the fire going, and we got our wood laid around here. Some of it's quite damp because obviously we've had this really wet snow, and it's been raining for a couple of days as well. So we're going to let this burn. And one thing to note about when you have a fire and you have damp wood, once you get it going good, arrange your wood around the outside so that it can dry. Don't just pile a bunch of wet wood on top of your fire, because it will put it out. Of course, as it dries, you can go ahead and move it onto the fire, increase your burn, and then stack more wet stuff in and around it to keep it going and to continue the drying process. So this type of shelter first of all, It's just a pole, and you can see it right there, that is lashed between this tree and that tree right there. And essentially it just laid poles on it, and then start laying other debris crossways, and then fill it in with bark and other items as you find them that will help shed water. It is just a simple survival shelter. It's very easy to build, uses very minimal cordage. One other thing to note is I did cut Y sticks and put them in the ground as a support to hold this up on both sides. The other Y stick is right there by the tree. You can see it right there, and it is holding that up. And so pretty dry inside, and our new roof is doing pretty well. Pretty pleased with it. As you can see, I've got a bit of wood there with the garbage bag on top of it just to sit on. Just a heavy-duty plank, so that we have a bit of a shelter, a place to sit, just sitting on a couple of pieces of wood. Beautiful day here, Southern Ohio. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. Please like, share, and subscribe. And make sure and press that bell button to stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.